Alright, so two quick things before we get into the video. One thing is that Omnibus Fridays is officially over with the Marvel and DC books. I said once I'm done with those, I'll do one final video and that'll be it. That one final video will be this Friday, and that will be me going over the Bitterroot Omnibus, a series I have read all the way through. A long time ago, I would say a year ago at this time, but still, actually it was this time. I remember that was when ironically enough, when I finished the series, that was when the omnibus came out, the hardcover omnibus. I read the paperbacks in the local library. I loved it so much that even though my local library, again, when I say local library, I mean interloan library. Like I get books from other libraries, but I pick them up at my local library, so I just say local library. When I say local library, I say it twice, local twice, that means the actual local library. The library I go to has it in their on the shelves. I know it's a little confusing, but for me to say interloan every time, I'm not going to say every time. I'm going to forget. But anyways, so I don't get enough. It had come out. Bitterroot Omnibus had come out when I finished up the series, the paperbacks. But that was about a year ago this time, so I don't remember everything. In fact, I don't remember a whole lot, but I remember really loving it. So when I go over the overview, it is something I've actually read before. And I may, if I can, try and do an overhead shot. I'm still filming on the iPad. I can't do it on this piece of junk because it still has audio issues. The thing with the audio is that it keeps cutting out. So I'm talking normally, and then suddenly the video will go quiet like this. That's not me talking quietly, it's the audio. I'm still talking in my normal voice, but it's going down for whatever reason. And filming on the iPad is just so much easier. Yeah, and it's annoying because I have to deal with it being the storage glitch, which I swear to God is a glitch. Now, storage glitch for me, for those who don't know, is sometimes I can film a 40-minute video. 40 minutes, non-stop, it doesn't cut out at 40 minutes. No, it's that I made the video 40 minutes. I was able to do it without interruption. And sometimes I will film that, so when I upload the videos, that original recording gets deleted. I can't keep all the recordings on there. So that original recording gets deleted, even deleting it, go to the originally deleted, getting rid of it, all of it, for 100%. I can't even do a 20-minute video. I'll do a 20-minute video, and 20 minutes in, out of say 30 minutes, nope, out of storage. It's a glitch. It's not me trying to make. It's not me because I have a whole bunch of Kindle books downloaded. No, it's because Kindle comics, a bunch of Kindle comics downloaded. No, it's because the iPad is a hunk of junk. Ironically enough, these are both from Apple. I think Apple just doesn't know what they're doing. But I will say one thing. I would not replace this iPad. I'd say a newer iPad, obviously, but as far as iPads go, I think Apple makes really good iPads. I would really hesitate to get a tablet from any other place unless I knew for a fact that they were better than Apple. They had something in there that was right up my alley. Like they had a USB port, so you could and it came with an external hard drive, 1 terabyte. You could take that out and then and be able to do as many videos they want to do. But without further ado, let's get into the complete January graphic novel haul. Now, my room was a bit of a mess because I had to take out all the omnibuses. Well, not all the, on one side, take out the omnibuses to make sure that I did indeed go over every single omnibus that I owned. I have, at least some Marvel DC ones. First one up is Me the People, written and drawn and I think lettered. Everything is done by Pia Guerra. Now this book I mentioned when I went over this in part 2. I did these. While this is a complete comic haul, I have gone over these books before. There's a part 1 and part 2, but I like doing it. I like doing 3 parts, if I can, 2 parts, here's these books that came in this day, here's these books that came in that day, and then I squish them all together for the complete comic haul, for the first of the month, the next month, at least first of the month. I like doing that way, just because of the fact that, it's a way to me to summarize everything at once. And sometimes there are things I forgot to mention, or there are I've learned something about the book afterwards. I'm that's something that I should mention in the complete monthly comic haul video. And yeah, sometimes I will still forget to mention things. And that's why I was thinking of doing a probably not going to do it anymore, but I was thinking of doing a revamped of doing like the complete January 2023 haul. Like, you know, it's kind of like a throwback Thursday kind of thing. But I probably won't. I think that's kind of something that's kind of like, I mean, even those I haven't read yet, all of them. You know, ones I got last year, I haven't read all of those yet. Which is kind of surprising to think about, but still, I have not done that. So I probably won't do that. But it was a way for me to, cause I was like, oh, well, that video is gonna get buried because no one's going back that far unless they know what they're looking for. But it's just something I probably won't do. I'll probably make a playlist if anything. Actually, that's probably what I should do, and then advertise a playlist, probably every week, honestly, or every month. Not a bad idea. All right. Anyways, let's get on with it. Me the People by Pia Guerra. Now this one I was kind of annoyed with. I only spent $6 on this, thankfully. And going by my, if it was at Newbury Comics, I probably would buy it rule. I'm unsure about that. If it was $1.99, yeah, I would have bought it. But other than that, probably not. Now this one, why am I so reluctant to buy this? Well, a lot of it is just caricatures. And it's all like New Yorker stuff. Like to get like something like, I mean, this isn't the best example, but a New Yorker article comic, not article comic, a new comic, editorial comic. That's what I was looking for. A lot of these are some of these are editorial comics that were featured in the New Yorker. But you can't even call it like this. It's just caricatures. It's just drawings without any real point to it. But they don't have something that's like rough. They have something like this, where it's an actual comic, but it's supposed to be editorial, and usually in the New Yorker. Now, that was the only reason why I was so reluctant if I bought this. I'm still flipping through them. I still cannot find a good example of this is kind of it. Yeah, like kind of that. It's just like, why charge, especially $14.99 for this? Now, yes, if you're just going by how many pages it is, and it's a hardcover, yeah, it is worth the cover price. But honestly, I would not have cared if this was a trade paperback and they gave this away to you on Free Comic Book Day, or an election night. They give this to you for free, you know, as a kind of like a bonus or whatever. Like, that's what this should have been. It should have been a giveaway, not a full price thing. Or just not publish it, or just not publish it at all. Now, Pia Guerra did do the artwork for Why the Last Man, one of my favorite comics of all time, so I had to get this. I'm not completely pissed off about it, because if you think about it that way, it isn't that much of a waste of money, you know. $6 and get used, yeah, used, but used like new. We can't even tell. In fact, here, it's a better example. We can't even tell, it's an actual comic. We can't even tell any blemishes that are on this book. I don't know if this was on everyone's copy, but there is writing here. But I think that's on every copy. It might not be, though. And yeah, it says it right here. And yeah, it said it on the Image Comics website. But the way they advertised it was like it was just all comics. Like, yeah, they're not all connected. They're all like different comics. Like, you know, how like Big Nate or Charlie Brown, like those are Peanuts rather. Those comics aren't usually connected. Big Nate was connected though. That was one of the things I really liked about Big Nate. But it was usually, it would just be like, you know, the funny books, like it was like little random ass comic strips that didn't really have any continuity, somewhat. Big Nate did though. Big Nate was really good. I really liked reading that series. A bit. I haven't bought one in a long time, nor will I. I probably will get rid of my Big Nate collection. But when I was the right age demographic for it, like middle school, same age demographic as Wimpy Kid, that was my shit. And that actually I read back in high school too. So it was a bit late to the party. Only a bit though. I would say it was probably 8th grade actually. No, actually I think it was 7th grade. Because it was right before I really got into comics, and now that I'm remembering correctly. So it probably was the right age demographic for it. The more I think about it. Yeah, actually it was. I remember now. It was 6th grade. I remember now. Because I remember reading the book. Because there's a book series too. Like they really wanted to drive home that was for the same demographic as Wimpy Kid. So they made actual books. Yeah, it was comics within the book, but it was actually like printed like Times New Roman printed instead of like comic printed. So the next one up is one that I completely glossed over. Apparently I thought that I had everything by Emma Rios that she did for Image Comics. Now, why did I say that specifically? Well, I'm a completist. Not just for getting every issue in a series of a story, but getting everything that the author has written for that publisher. For the most part, it's been with Image Comics. When I move on, probably in 2026, if I'm being completely honest with you guys, in 2026, where I move away from getting everything Image Comics, and I move on to maybe Vertigo or back to Dark Horse, maybe then I won't be as annoying about it. But as of right now, for Image Comics, I want to get everything that author has done. If there's something that's out of print, fine, I won't get it. There's one author here that two of the books I didn't get. One because, and they both because it's the format of the book, but also because one's out of print. But for the most part, I want to get everything the author has done. And sometimes if a book is out of print, I won't get anything. Like Justin Jordan, I know, has the same first name as I do. I only have his Luther Strode series. And that's because he also did a series called Spread. Volume 5 is out of print. And I'm like, you know what? Let's not get anything else for that guy because of that reason. So sometimes I'll be a bit petty and we'll be like, no, I don't want to get it even digitally. I don't want to do that. So I'll wait till a reprint comes out of Volume 5. But I don't think it's ever going to come out. So I might as well just go into, I should probably just go on to eBay. But it's out of print. Like, it was like it must have been a low print run. It's kind of weird. But anyways, this Emma Rio series is called ID. And this one deals with body transformation, but in dystopian worlds. I don't think it has anything to do with what you think it is. You hear body transformations. That's a conflict between perception and identity through the struggle of three people who consider a body transplant, in quotation marks, as a solution to their lives, and that's but takes place in a dystopian world. It did kind of sound interesting. I think the way that Amazon, even though it's probably the same way that same wording too, maybe even same exact words, but the way that Amazon advertised it, it was even more up my alley. And I was like, you know what? It's the last Emma Rios book I need, and it's only, where is it? Right here. And it's only $10. Now, as you can tell, or probably could see, there's a remainder mark on this book. And that is because I got this off Wonderbook used like new. And especially with Wonderbook and Why Pay More Online, they do say that the only thing wrong with it, usually, is that there's a remainder mark. Which is fine by me. Like, I don't mind that at all. Now, shelfware, yeah, that's not bad too, especially if it's at the bottom, because shelfware usually means that, like, you had it on your shelf, and you're taking it out, in and out with the book, doing this, and this, that kind of thing with it. So eventually, the thing on the bottom is going to come out a bit, but it shouldn't be too much. Like, honestly, the way if I ever do a shelf overview, I'll go more in depth. You know what I'm talking about. But basically, that's what it means. You're taking it out, and I guess they're gonna scratch. So that's normal for a comic book to have, for any book. Honestly, it's a comic book, but normal for any book to show some shelf wear after a long time of you owning it. Now, it does not affect the reading of the book either. It's just the way that. It's the presentation will look a bit different, but that's how people know you read the book a lot. So there you go. But like with Me the People, this is an all-in-one thing. This is what's known as an original graphic novel, where it's not like, oh, this collects issues 1 through 3 of ID that came out previously. No, it was all in one. No issues came out before from it. It was just an original graphic novel. Also, only 80 pages, and honestly, I mean, it's bigger than taller than your average graphic novel, which is nice. So it's even better that you only have to pay $10 to read it. And it's also it's also proof that Image Comics can only charge you $10 for this big a book. It's only 80 pages, but still. But it's proof they can charge that. So it's kind of bullshit that that 1975 book by Joe Casey, it was Roman numerals, 1975. Well, 1975 is in Roman numerals, but that one was the same amount of pages, but it was your standard trade paperback size for $10, and that was fine too. I always like when that book is only $10 from Image Comics, because usually that means that it's an ongoing. unless with Dark Fang, it was just not popular at all. No one really liked it, maybe even. So they only got 1 volume out of it and got canceled after that. 5 issues it was, but got another original graphic novel, and this one is one I've read before, and this is Supper Club. Now, Image Comics Supper Club. Now, Image Comics advertises this as being perfect for Raina Telgemeier fans, and I 100% agree with that statement. If you like Smile, Guts, drama, ghosts, sisters, I didn't all that she's written, but Raina Telgemeier and the Babysitter's Club too. It's kind of funny because they said for fans of Babysitter's Club and Raina Telgemeier books, and Raina Telgemeier has the graphic novel adaptations of the Babysitter Club books. But they say it was perfect for those fans. I would 100% agree with that because I really enjoy the Raina Telgemeier books like Smile, and especially the memoirs like Smile, Sisters, and Guts. Those are really interesting because it's her life. And it's funny too. It's funny too because you really think about it, like it's just her dealing with braces. And yeah, high school too. But it's like something so small is so damn interesting for me, and that's because I really like the genre of coming of age movies. Not because like, oh man, I remember when I was through that, and it's like, no, it's usually because it's an interesting story. You do relate too, but it's just you don't even have to relate. Like these are all the ones that I can think of off the top of my head feature teenage girls. 8th grade was teenage girl, Edge of 17 teenage girl, Smile, Guts, Sisters, all women. And it's funny that, I can still relate to it. I can still find enjoyment in those stories, even though they're not technically made for someone like me, a straight white male. And that's proof that, and I'm not trying to say anything. There are books. I'm actually reading one right now called Patsy Walker Hellcat, aka Hellcat. It's actually the real title. It's kind of annoying because it's not made for me, and it's obvious that the author did not think of anything like to make it at all interesting for anyone but that demographic. I mean, that demographic like feels like they're being talked down to. But not every book is like that. But anyways, this is Supper Club, written and drawn by Jackie Morrow. Ironically enough, the first 3 have been written and drawn by that one name. It's one name, written and drawn by that. Because Pia Guerrera was wrote, drew, and probably colored, or it wasn't colored black and white, but wrote and drew. Meet the People and ID was written and drawn by Emma Rios, and this is written and drawn by Jackie Morrow. You'll find my voice a weird little crack. Jackie Morrow. So separate clock. You say I guess I'm doing that. And this one I did really enjoy. Not as good as Smile, but still enjoyable enough. Like again, if you're a fan of those series, you're not expecting to be as good as that, and just because of how good that series is, then you'll find some enjoyment out of this. Now the artwork does take a lot of getting used to. When I looked at this book, because it's been and what's kind of funny is it hasn't been that long. It was November this past year, November 2023. It was when I read this book. It's only January or February 1st as I'm uploading this, but I'm recording this on the 30th. So not that long ago that I read this series. When I opened this book, I was flipping through it to kind of, I guess, to rack my brain or anything, or just the artwork. Yeah, it's this kind of artwork. It's kind of like overly cartoony artwork, and I don't remember it being that. I'm not gonna say I don't remember it being that way. Like it was different, but I feel like I would remember. I feel like I would remember that the artwork was like this because it has been that long. But I say it takes a lot of getting used to because not a whole lot of books I own are this overly cartoony style. It's like it's Nickelodeon style. Like this especially kind of. Even though I don't watch the show, I've just seen like snippets of it. Does remind me of Loud House kind of art style, like, kind of that Peanuts Sunday comic strip kind of style, which it is what it's going for. I feel like it's going for that kind of like comic strip turned into comic book kind of fashion. I can think but I do still. It's obvious. I wouldn't want it to be overly detailed. Like if Alex Ross did it, I would, as much as I like Alex Ross's style, I would say it was wasted on a book like this, where it's not like overly action packed, or it's a slice of life comic. It's not like anything. Like it's not even a space epic, or it's not even a action comic. Hell, it's not even a it's not even a like Moonstruck, where it was anthropomorphic animals dealing with slice of life. You know, it's just normal people, and it's a coming of age in that book. It's, you know, slice of life kind of thing. Now, what does it actually say here? I wonder. Drama humor, yeah. Now this one is very interesting because it has a $14.99 cover price. And why do I say that's interesting? Well, look how thick this book is. And according to Amazon, this is 236 pages. Yet again, proof that, yeah, it's an original graphic novel, so there's probably some bias, but yet again, proof that Image Comics can make a over 200-page book cheap. You know, even $19.99, I wouldn't totally hate the price of this. I got this for $11.99 too, and I'm pretty sure, I'm almost positive it's still the same price, at $11.99 on Amazon. But usually, my point is that usually Amazon charges you full price. It's cheap enough. They're like, nope, full price. $10, you're not going anything under that unless you get a third-party seller. And you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't go against our values, would you? And yeah, I would, because I kind of hate Amazon. I say kind of, you know, obviously I don't hate them because I've gotten books from them, but I'm very, 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 I'm very, very, very critical of Amazon, because I don't. Oh my god, it's $10? You'll be shitting me. Really? Fuck you, Amazon. It just went from $11.99 to $9.99. Fuck you, Amazon. Yeah, it's only like $3, but I could have gotten another book probably. Maybe I only had $15. I could have actually, if I waited long enough. Shit. I guess I'm glad I didn't do it because everything came in, but still. But the point is, I got it with a gift card too, so even better, added bonus. And there's another book that I wanted to get. Oh, I had $13 though, so that wasn't that good. I'm far away, but still. All right, moving on. Next book up is Vindication, written by M.D. Marie. I could have gotten 2 books. I should have do that. But the next one up is Vindication by M.D. Marie, with artwork done by. Finally, the artwork is done by different people. So written by M.D. Marie, created by Matt Hawkins and M.D. Marie, which really pissed me off. So I was like, oh, what? Because again, it's one of those things. There's 2 authors. I don't have everything Matt Hawkins has done, and I was like, oh, and I might say created by. As of me recording this, I could not find anything on whether or not it was part of the pilot season comics, where they would have like a one shot and then they get picked up for a series. And that was usually Matt Hawkins was part of that. Actually, no, it wasn't. It was Robert Kirkman was part of that. Because there's a series called Stealth that is created by Robert Kirkman and Mark Silvestri, but Matt Costa does the miniseries that came out afterwards. And for whatever reason, most of the trade paperbacks do not come with a pilot season book. You have to get that on the Kindle. Thankfully, 9 out of 10 of them have been available on the Kindle. The only one that hasn't been available was Stellar by Joe Kinje. That is not available on Kindle for whatever reason. But everything else was. You know, only one I can think of is a series called Genius, which I might get next month. I'm gonna get next month, by the way. But I'll be getting next month, called Genius. That does come with the pilot season. That does come with the pilot season issue. But for the most part, it doesn't come with it. It was really weird. And I found it out the hard way with some of these books. But so far, there's nothing on this of whether or not it was like in a one-shot before becoming its own mini-series. Maybe, and it's not like based off of any characters that Matt Hawkins created. So far, so good, so to speak. Now, this one deals with police corruption and, you know, obviously you can tell here what it deals with. But it does it in a way, from what I remember at least, it does it in a way that is smart. It's not like, oh, it's not, you know, it's not to bring that word up again that I said with It's not a caricature. I was trying to say like, oh, I say caricature when I was going over the Pia Guerrera book, but it's also it has two meanings technically. Like, caricature is like a drawing of a real life figure, but if someone does their own like interpretation of it and, as a drawing. But also means a caricature of a. Like, it's basically what I'm trying to. Basically, what it is cliche, like cliche occurs, as I believe Nostalgia Critic has coined the phrase. I say believes. I know that's a Nostalgia Critic phrase, but I'm not certain whether or not he came up with the quote himself or it was stolen from someone else. Like, no, I don't want to say stolen, but someone else came up with it. But Vindication, like I said before, Vindication is, it's not a big deal. It sounds, take a drinking, I can't speak apparently too, but like take a shot every time I've said, you'll already be dead. Now, this one is, it's 4-issue miniseries, like I was saying, sorry, I get sidetracked. They're not cliche girls. From what I remember, each character is well-rounded enough to where it's believable. The story is believable enough to where, like, thing to wear. But the story is believable enough, and like it's not like annoying, I guess you could say. Like, it's not. It deals with like racist cops. So the racist cop isn't racist because of like just for no reason. He's like overly racist and he's like really, really, really bad. No, he does do bad things, of course, but he does them like there's a certain reason for why he was doing it. Not a damn good reason at all, but you at least understood that there was a reason for why he was acting the way he was acting, which I do appreciate when comics will do that. Yeah, you can make the argument they don't need to, but I think more comics should portray that. It's gonna be very controversial amongst Twitter freaks, but hey, maybe we should probably stop listening to them. But it's portrayed in a way that, from what I remember, was more real. It was portrayed in a more realistic way. It wasn't like so one-sided. It was one-sided, obviously, but it wasn't so like cookie cutter. But 1 through 4 of Vindication, and we'll show the artwork. I showed that first episode club too. Okay. Sometimes I'm like, did I even show the artwork for the last book? And I'm like, oh no, but no, I did. The artwork was pretty damn good too. See, this for a supper club, that would have been really great. Imagine that kind of artwork for a supper club, which is supposed to be brain intelligent shit, or even the opposite way. Yeah, I would not like that. That's why I'm so like, even when I see that kind of artwork in where it belongs, like where it fits, even then I'm like, oh, I'm like very hesitant about it. Next up, we have another political comic, but this one is definitely one-sided, definitely biased, definitely cliche caricatures of characters. Now, why did I get this book? Well, because Home by Julio Anta was actually pretty damn interesting. In a sense that it kept my interest. It was pretty damn, like, fast-paced. Now, I only paid, and added shipping too, but I got this used very good off of Amazon. Third-party seller, but off of Amazon. Now, I really looked at this book, and there is no blemishes whatsoever. There's actually more blemishes on a new copy of a book than there are of a used, very good copy of a book, which is insane to think about. And for those of you who want to know, so Amazon, obviously, Supper Club was a new copy because I got it off Amazon, as you guys probably could tell. ID was used like new, and I already mentioned that Wounded People was used like new, but this was a new copy from third party seller called Wonder Book. Wonder Book and Why Pay More Online are my favorite third party sellers to get books from. If I see a book is used like new from Wonder Book or Why Pay More Online, I will immediately pick it up. Usually because it's cheap. Like most of the books on Wonder Book are $7, and most of the books on Why Pay More Online are $5. That is used like new, and their shipping is pretty damn fast too. Like I got Vindication on the Thursday or Friday, the 26th, and I ordered it on the 21st. So 5 days later, it comes in. That is insane. Now, yeah, it's better that you order a book on Monday than on Friday for one day book, so you get it at a good time frame kind of thing. But for the most part, you can get it. You'll get it 5 days later, at least. Like I would say up to a week later, which that's not too long to wait. Even for my ass, that's not too, my impatient ass. That's not too long to wait for me. And yeah, okay, I would not want to wait that long for an Amazon Prime book. There's a reason why I'm getting a book off Amazon Prime. Not because of the price, no, because it's fast shipping. And it adheres to my impatient ass needs, so there you go. So I would not want to wait 5 days for an Amazon book to come in unless it was a pre-order and it was coming in, it was releasing 5 days after I ordered it. But for third-party sellers, I already understand that your book's gonna fall. I already understand that those are gonna come in a bit later. And 5 days is good for a third-party seller, by the way, too. I still remember having to wait 2 months. 2 months. And this is why I'll never order from these guys ever again. And I'll say it again, it was 2021, so in their defense, it was not still the pandemic because we were able to go out, but it was still in those kind of like early days of the pandemic where it was as shitty as it is to say because that was a year later, but it was still in those days of the pandemic where you had to still be very, very careful. And if you got COVID, it was the worst thing ever. Whereas nowadays, it's like a minor inconvenience. Like back then, it was like, oh my god, we gotta quarantine you. Oh my god, sanitize everything. It's like freaking out because of a fucking zombie apocalypse, like a zombie virus. And nowadays, it's like, oh, I have COVID. All right, just take the rest of the day off, go home, but come back tomorrow, right? Because we need you. No, that's basically what it is nowadays. But sorry, go back to so Cheap Graphic Novels was the place I ordered books from. It was omnibuses, and they were cheap, and they were in new condition too, and they came in like excellent packaging. Everything else but the wait time was immaculate. But it was like 2 months, and I still don't want to order from them because they still say special orders, and that was their way of saying, hey, yeah, no, pandemic and shit. But I think nowadays it would probably be like a week or two. But I have no reason to get books from Cheap Graphic Novels. At the very least, all the third-party sellers I purchase books from are off Amazon. So they're on our account, our shared account, on the family's shared account on Amazon. So, it's Amazon. If you have any problems with them, yeah, they want you to go to the third-party seller, but you can also go through Amazon too. Whereas Cheap Graphic Novels, you don't even know them. At least someone like my mom, if she ever has a problem with third-party seller, or we ever had a problem with third-party seller, I'm saying her because she orders books from me for Christmas and my birthday. So if she ever had a problem with them, she could go right to them, and she would hear back from them pretty soon. That's the kind of thing with Amazon. But Cheap Graphic Novels, I think she had to wait a week to get back from them. It was so annoying. We almost canceled the order too. It was July 4th, and we ordered them for my birthday, May 27th. Yeah, bullshit. They came out, I think they came in I actually have the picture here. I can tell you guys what exact day it came in. I shot her a picture these books finally came in. And again, like I said, it's way back here. I have so many snapshots. A lot of my camera roll is just screenshots. Some of it makes sense, they're memes, but some of it doesn't make sense, they're just me snapshotting a July 6th, 2021 was when it came in. It was just me snapshotting the what do you call it? The USPS, the tracking info. Like me snapshotting, oh, is at this facility, then went to that facility. I like to do that just so I know how long each place took for the book to come in. Especially with USPS, like Wonder Book, I want to know how long it takes for that one to come in because I ordered it this day. So it's one of those things where I compared it to, kind of thing. So if I'm waiting on the book, I'm like, okay, that's when this shipped, so I should not be worried because it's only been a few days, kind of thing. And I ordered on Friday. Now going back to home. I'm sorry, I know I got really, really sidetracked, but going back to home, this book is extremely preachy, extremely biased, but also extremely entertaining. Not just in a so bad it's good way, no, in a Julio Anza is a good writer. He just is a bit biased. And I will always give people, I will always give a book props if it keeps my interest throughout. If a book is boring and it's biased, and it's like, this book is any more boring than it actually was, and it's not, it's not everyone as well, but if this book is at all boring, I would not even have you holding this book in my hand right now. A good example of a book that's boring and is extremely biased is Mother of Madness, otherwise known as Mom, from Emilia Clarke. And that book was just biased, annoying, and boring. That's the worst offense you can have for, in my opinion, the worst offense, period, for a book to have. Book, movie, video game, anything. Comic, anything. The worst thing you can say about any of those, about media in general, is that it's boring. If a movie is boring, I won't watch it again. If a comic is boring, I won't read it again. Maybe I will. I'm more inclined to read comics again just because of how quickly I can read, at least per issue I can read them. Because at the most, a book will take me an hour to read. That's Silver Age. On average, I would say, not including Silver Age, like an average comic nowadays would probably take me about 20 to 30 minutes to read. Maybe even less. Like, this was very entertaining. And not just in a so bad it's good kind of way, but in a way that it was just an interesting, the way he wrote it was interesting, and it kept your interest. You wanted to know what happened next. You kind of did care about the characters, even if everything else is so outlandish and almost to the point of parody. And this is not supposed to be a satire on what people think the world is nowadays. No, this is supposed to be how the world is nowadays, or could be. And it's not, no. And the best way of me proving this is that there's a thing at the back that has essays. So if you're teaching this in a school, you're teaching this as, oh, you can read a comic book for school today, but you gotta learn, no, they have this little thing here. Oh, here's a little essays and everything to do. So you can even, it's even easier to do a book report on it. I mean, yeah, if I had to do this for a book report, it would not be that bad. I'd actually quite like doing it, but I would probably make it, my book report is the artwork, by the way. I'd probably make mine, I just realized I have to go with the artwork for Vindication. So Vindication, the artists are, I'm going to say artists. The artists are Carlos Mico, Demo Jr., and Tiago Goncalves for Vindication. For Home, it is Julio Ancha writes it. The artist is Anna Wisnik, and the colorist is Brian Valenza. I always go writer, artist, colorist, so just so you guys know. So it's WAC. Remember that. Washington Arms. Oh. You guys can go back on that again, but I always go over greater artist, colorist. Washington, Argentina, Colorado. There you go. I was trying to do like states or places, consistency, but I couldn't at first. But yeah, and like I was saying, I'm not mind doing a book report on this, but it would be more of a persuasive essay to persuade them that this is not how the world is nowadays, or will ever be, no matter who's elected president. And that, yeah, okay, I don't know that I'm not super into politics, but even I can say that's not how the world's gonna be. Don't you guys worry about that. Now, this one I have not read. This is Dark Engine, Volume 1, The Art of Destruction, collecting 1 through 4, Dark Engine, written by Ryan Burton with artwork done by John Bivens. Now, this is like I mentioned before with Dark Fang, this is a series that did get canceled prematurely, but this is a good example, and so Volume 1 is $10. Yeah, it's only 4 issues, so maybe either way it would be $10, but, what was it called? And it was a Hannah Rosemary book. I have it right there, like on my shelf. But that book was $16.99, only had 4 issues, and each issue was your standard amount of pages. Now, something like, let's say, Sacred Creatures, each issue was a lot longer. Actually, in fact, issue 1 was like 60 plus pages, and I think the rest of them were like 40 pages. So even 4 issues, they would not charge you $10. They would charge you more like $14. They would probably do $14.99 to $19.99. That book has 6 issues and it's $22.99. It's a good price because it's a thick ass book. It's like over 300 pages for only $25. That's a steal from anyone, honestly, especially Image Comics. You could make the argument that it kind of isn't and should be Instead of $22.99, they should just make it $19.99. But maybe it's not the worst price. It also is a trade paperback, standard size trade paperback too. So as I was saying, it got canceled prematurely, so there is an issue 5 that was supposedly part of a new arc, but that was all she wrote because it got canceled. So you do have to get issue 5 digitally. I'm gonna double check to make. I'm gonna double check here. It's here. Dark Engine. There you go. Dark Engine number 5. Because sometimes they will just have like a one shot. It looks like it does not say. They will always say right away part of a new story arc. It did not say that there, so I imagine it's just either one shot or somehow they could have put it in here, but they were going to put it in the next volume. So you might get lucky, and it might be a defending story, but there's still some, of course, there's still some loose ends to be tied up that will never be tied up because it doesn't like Brian Burns is ever going to come back to the series. I don't know why. I doubt that he was Me Too'd, but it's possible. But I mean, I feel like I would have known about it because I've been caught up with that kind of stuff, especially as far as comic creators go. Who's been Me Too'd who's been Me Too'd and been kicked out of the mainstream comic book industry. Mainly, a big one being Warren Ellis, one of my favorite authors of all time. Turned out to be not the best person ever, but if you really look into it, really look into it, you don't go based off the bias of this person or that person, there's some implications that maybe the people, his victims, aren't actually victims, and they just kind of, I'm not going to get into it, but I would say look into it. Go to your boy Zach, and just do your boy Zach Warren Ellis. He has a whole playlist of Warren Ellis on his channel, which is really helpful, so just do that. So James O'Barr gave it this book praise, and so J.H. Williams the third, and you will be hearing that name pretty soon here, J.H. Williams. Yeah, 1 through 4. Here's the artwork. The artwork is absolutely spectacular. Now this, they said, was for fans of Conan and Red Sonja, both of which I've read books on them before, and I've enjoyed their material. I enjoyed the King Size Conan book they did recently, and especially the first issue of Jason Aaron's run on Conan. And I remember really enjoying the Red Sonja, actually is Red Sonja Conan crossover I've read before. That was alright. But then there was a Conan and Spider-Man crossover I remember really enjoying. I've got to get back on that book. It's been way too long since I read that series. Now we are on to the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books, which are all written by the same author. Now, technically, I do not have everything that Brian K. Vaughan has done for Image Comics. There are 2 books that I do not have of his. One of which you'll be seeing very soon here, because I got my library's copy, and the other one which is out of print completely. Now, why did I break my rule and just decide to get everything else that Brian K. Vaughan had done? Well, those 2 are what's known as widescreen comics. Now, pretty soon here, you will see what I mean by a widescreen comic. In fact, I probably won't wait until... I'll wait until I get the books. I'm planning on going to the library on Saturday. But I obviously want to have everything finished. I'm just picking up an over... a book came in that I was supposed to get this past week. That came in this week, so that's why I'm getting that. That's why I'm going Saturday. Also, I finally watched Five Nights at Freddy's. I rented that movie from the library. So I'll finally watch Five Nights at Freddy's with my cousin, who's a huge FNAF fan, like huge FNAF fan. So that'll be fun. He's not even watching it, obviously. He wasn't waiting for shit. He watched the opening day. The second it came out, literal second it came out, he watched it. That's how much of a fan he is of Five Nights at Freddy's. But anyways, so there's what's known as widescreen comics, and widescreen comics is by far the most uncomfortable way that you can way to read a comic, or the format to read a comic in. There you go. That's what I'm to say. By far, widescreen comics is the most uncomfortable format to read comics in. Omnibuses, like, they're really big, obviously, because they're omnibuses. Usually they're all hardcover, so it's even worse. But that at least is just because of how big it is and how heavy it is. Widescreen comics are like this, like it's basically this wide, like this wide, and this, so it's like this, basically like that. That is so impossible to read. Now, I have read a widescreen comic before. I read Echolands by J.H. Williams III. Told you his name was coming in pretty soon here. I read Echolands by J.H. Williams III, and I had to bend the book this way, like that way, to even read the book itself. And thankfully, the book was presented, it was bound, like the binding was so damn good. So if there was any worse, they would have completely fallen apart, and it was a lighter book too, so it would have been even worse. But thank God that binding stuck together, because otherwise I would not be able to read that book. So I will never, ever, 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 unless I find a way to get comfortable reading a widescreen comic, I will never own a widescreen comic. Otherwise known as, I say widescreen, that's what it's known as, but it's landscape mode, if you want to know what it actually means. But I'll never, ever, ever read a widescreen comic book in my life. Unless I'm not reading my life, sorry. I'll never own a widescreen comic in my life. I'll read it, sure, fine, maybe, but other than that, and only once too, other than that, I will never, ever own a widescreen comic. Unless I decide one day to get every single solitary image comic that ever existed, which honestly, give me a few years, I probably will have done that, and be doing that still. But other than that, yeah, no. Not doing that. So moving on, Brian K. Vaughan wrote this Paper Girls by Brian K. Vaughan. Now this one is one I read before and thoroughly enjoyed. This was so damn good. This is like the peak. This is the ultimate comic for me. It was fast paced. It was bingeable. I wanted to read it. So this is as you can tell, a thick ass book. It was 30 issues, and the most recent time I read it, because again, library's copy, library night I bought myself, because I was so damn good. The last time I read this was the Compendium book, and it was 30 issues, so I had to read at least, I think it was 6 issues the last day to finish it by the time I had to return it, because I had to return it, because it was due. I did not mind doing that. That was not at all a chore for me. It was actually very enjoyable for me, because I was doing it back to back to back to back. I did not mind that one bit. That is an insane feat for a comic book to accomplish for me. Usually, even reading one issue of a book is, no matter how much I like the book, I sometimes have to take a little break. So I'll read 5 pages and then look up something on my iPad. To read another 5 pages, make sure, double check, make sure I didn't get any emails, or double check Instagram or not Facebook, or Twitter, whatever. Usually only for 2 minutes at a time. I don't take a 10-minute break. If I take a 10-minute break, I don't like doing that. Even 5 minutes, I'm like, okay, gotta get back to my book. But the fact that I probably didn't take a single break when I read Paper Girls is an insane feat. And read 6 issues back to back, and they're not considered to be a pain in the ass. Take into consideration, okay, so let's say each issue is, I'll round it up, say 25 pages. So 25 times 6 is 150 pages. That is like me reading the entirety of Scott Pilgrim all in one sitting. I'll round that up, because the most recent volume of Scott Pilgrim, extras excluded, was 188 pages. That's basically like reading that all in one sitting. And as good as Scott Pilgrim is, I had to take a few breaks. That's a lot of books. It's called an individual graphic novel, so it's all in one. That's like me reading all of that's not an example. That's like me reading all of two issues of ID all in one sitting. Let's say there's an ID volume 2. That's like reading those back to back all in one sitting. And I basically did that with Paper Girls. An insane feat to accomplish for me personally. You know you've written a damn good comic book when that is a feat that can accomplish without fail. Brian K. Vaughan is also a really damn good author. There's another book that happened with was Runaways. That was Marvel Comics, not Image Comics. Was Runaways. And Runaways is like the best Marvel indie book you can get. Like if you want an indie comics feel, what superheroes? That's Runaways for you. like Runaways is phenomenal. At least the first complete collection. The second complete collection, I still have not finished. It's a bit slower, but the first one I was like back to back to back. And I had to, I could not put that book down. That is also the case with this book, that I almost could not put this book down too. It's one of those books I had to force myself to put down to read the other books they had that week from my local library. And in the case of Runaways, I had to go to bed because I had to wake up early because we were cleaning out my aunt's house because she passed away. I didn't know her that much, so it wasn't like a. I mean, still, it was actually more annoying that she died because of the fact that I had to keep cleaning out her house, not because I knew her really well. Which I don't mean to talk ill of the dead. Obviously, I'm just saying like. I can talk ill of the dead if I'm making a joke, making a dark joke. But anyways, all 30 issues of Paper Girl is collected in its thick-ass compendium. They say complete collection, I say compendium, or complete story, rather. But I say compendium, all written by Frank K. Vaughan, and all drawn by Cliff Chang, with artwork with colors done by Matt Wilson. And here is the artwork. The artwork is also really damn good here, too. I'm going to have to do this really quickly, so you guys are going to have to pause. I can't hold it up much longer than this. There you go. It's a thick-ass book. Now, another Brian K. Vaughan book that you guys are saying, you better have this if you say you're a completist with Brian K. Vaughan. I do have Saga, the Compendium One. Now, I do own this digitally. I want to own this physically, too. Should go to show you, that should go to show how much I loved reading so far, have enjoyed reading Saga. Saga is just one of those books that stays with you forever. Like, I think 30 years from now, hell, on my deathbed, I'll still remember Saga. So you guys will come to me on my deathbed and be like, hey, remember Saga? I'm like, yeah, I remember Saga, that was such a good book, and it finally ended 2 years ago, because that's honestly, Saga is going to go until after Brian K. Vaughan dies. Brian K. Vaughan will give his next of kin, or whoever he passes the torch to, he'll give them his notes, so it's still as good as Brian K. Vaughan's was, or at least has the same consistency, doesn't stray too far. So they say, because the next person who gets it probably won't know where Brian K. Vaughan wanted to end the story, so Brian K. Vaughan will give him the notes, is what I'm trying to say. But I want to say this series will go on for probably, honestly, maybe even, I would not be surprised if this book goes on for 300 issues. I would say, realistically speaking, probably 100. Now, it is on a hiatus again, a brief hiatus, I want to say, because it's been, we're not getting anything until at least May. Solicitations have come out for April 2024 from Image, and it's not even on April 2024. It's not even in the solicitations for April. Now, I remember actually. The last issue came out in September. So here is Saga. This is a Compendium One. The first 54 issues are collected in here, and for the longest time, that was it. That was all he had. That was all she wrote, and people were like, where the hell is Saga? So here's the artwork. Again, I'm doing this very quickly. It's a bit... I'm going to do... should I? This is towards the beginning of the book. I'm sorry if I spoiled anything. I'm going to have to cover up what I'm covering up, so I have to hold that book up the way I'm holding it up. It's a thick-ass compendium, as you can tell. 13 plus pages for this compendium. Now, I did get the compendium, I didn't get the volumes, I didn't get the box set. I got the cheapest way of getting this book, and that's because compendiums are just fine. Reading the Paper Girls compendium, that I got my library's copy, that was just fine. This is the same material as the Spawn compendiums were, and other than a little bit of warping, and that's all of them are like this. Other than some warping, there's no real problems with this book. Now, yes, when I read the compendium, I will be reading my Kindle copy, because I might as well get my mileage out of the Kindle copy, and I'm getting my mileage out of this book because I paid $33 for it, but it's worth every penny because I now physically own this book. So if Kindle ever decides if they ever decide to censor Saga, which they wouldn't, hopefully not, I'll have the original trade paperback or compendium trade paperback. So, you can't censor that, So on the physical media on top of having a digital media. Now, so that was the first 54 issues. The artist is Fiona Staples, by the way. So now we have volume 10 of Saga, collecting 55 to 60. This is what I was talking about, the worst blemish on a new copy than a used, very good copy. from a third-party seller. Yeah, you guys wonder why I love third-party sellers so much? That's another reason. Now, I can't even tell, which is really nice, that's only on the cover page. Going into the book itself, I really have to like look at it really closely to see it there. Oh, it's there too. But then you get to the actual book itself, hell, to the cover page here, which just says Saga kind of thing, not noticeable at all. When I found that out, I was like, thank the Lord. Now, Saga Volume 10, I was getting the individual issues once it came back out of hiatus. I did get all the issues in Volume 10, and the first issue in Volume 11, that collects 60 to 61, 66. But other than that, I don't have everything. So, for this volume, it'll be the first time I'm reading it, most likely, the first time I'm reading it physically and in volume format. 61 to 66 of Saga. I feel like I stuttered too much when I said what I collected. Yeah, absolutely phenomenal series that I already, even though I've only read, off the top of my head, I've read, I would say the first 3 volumes. I know for a fact I've read the first 2 volumes, but I can't remember where I left off afterwards. But even after reading that, I can already say this is just as good as people are saying it is. It has a 4.7 out of 5 on Goodreads, and that's from 5,000 people, at least. It was a few thousand people at least. Usually, if something is that high, it's only because like 3 people have reviewed it and they all give it positive reception. But with 5,000 people giving it a 4.7 out of 5 average rating, that is insane. That is an insane feat It's an insane feat. The only one that doesn't deserve as high praise as a 4.4 is Nubia Real One. That was terrible. It was a terrible book. I remember that book being terrible. I will give that book a second chance pretty soon here. Probably not the next time I go, but the following time at least. But I don't remember liking that book at all. It was a DC Inc. book too. But moving on. So I had to get this book by Brian K. Vaughan. It's Walking Dead: The Alien. The artist here is Marcus Martin, obviously written by Brian K. Vaughan, and it's an OGN, original graphic novel, hardcover. It's a very, very thin book, but this is also the only Walking Dead book my library does not have. If they had it, I would just say screw it. I'll only use their copy and I won't own it myself. But because this is the only Walking Dead book that I haven't read, besides Clementine, and my library didn't have it, hence why I haven't read it. Now, I was like, screw it, we're getting this book. Why not? It was cheap, too. I paid $14 for it. List price is not that much more expensive. It's $19.99 list price. I did get a used, I did get a used or a good copy. That's better than Amazon basically charging full price. It's like $18.99, so I saved $4. And it's worth it, because it wasn't one I was, super excited about. I don't, anyways. And in fact, it was the last one to come in, too. It's kind of funny. Like, everything else I was excited for, pumped for. Walking Dead, I was like, I'm just getting this to get everything by Brian K. Vaughan, so, you know. Then last, but certainly not the least, is We Stand on Guard. Written by Brian K. Vaughan, with artwork done by Steve Scrosay, Matt Hollingsworth, and lettering done by Phonographics. So if you have read Maestros and Post Americana, this artwork will look very, very similar will look very, very familiar to you guys, especially that. When New Condition was going over the book, when we got to this page, I was like, hey, that looks like the mother from Maestros. Different hair color, obviously, but the mother from Maestros. I should have dreamed about that I was in that book. It was kind of like a weird, when I have dreams about things that I've read before and I'm experiencing them, I always forget certain things, so, always, few details will be different, kind of thing. But I don't know if I was experiencing it as a dream, so I don't remember a whole lot from it, but, yeah, it's weird. Well, this is another used, very good copy. There's a little, blemish there. I can't even tell where. I'm looking, very closely at it. Yeah, there's a little scratch here. I can see it now. But I gotta go, this close to see it. So, I don't know why I even care. Now, one thing about this book that I found kind of funny was that about halfway, so I saw this book and I was like, hey, is there a bookmark here? Because some books, especially hardcovers like this, will come with a little bookmark, oh, like ribbon bookmark thingy. And I was looking through it, I was like, wait, where is it? Is it right here? And I saw it, I was like, okay, take this out. It was a wrapping paper that had two DeMarcus from Flo Marcus. It was kind of like a gift that like they gave someone, so I could tell it was used. Now I really did. Now I really looked through this book to make sure there was no blemishes that I didn't like, and I'll do it again. I'll do it a bit more in depth. Yeah, so far so good. Used very good usually means that at worst it's gonna be like a some writing in the cover page, and there is one I own. It was Samurai's Blood, I think the series was called, and there was some writing. The author of the book, or artist of the book, someone that was involved with the making of the book, had written in marker, but it was honestly I only saw it because I had it in the light, and kind of had to tilt this one, like, oh, okay, so it's like that basically, how you see that, so it stands out more. But that was the only way I saw it, so that's the worst of it that I've experienced so far. Now, getting used is very good. I am a little bit more hesitant to get a book that's used like new, or used very good. Used like new is perfect. Used like new is like my go-to when I'm getting a used book. It's usually much cheaper than list price, and usually, sometimes, in much better condition than new copy. It's insane to think about. Now, Amazon, getting the Compendium for Saga, like that, I was surprised that book came in as good condition as it did. It's a thick-ass book. I would not blame Amazon if that book came in bad condition. And in fact, when I get softcover compendiums from Amazon, I almost got Saga, the Compendium, from a third-party seller. I almost did that. But it came in, thank God, it came in perfect condition. And 6 issues, all 6 issues of this miniseries are collected in this hardcover. There is also a softcover copy of this book, and I almost am thinking of getting the softcover copy too, but I really shouldn't. I should really try and just deal with the copy that I have. Maybe not, but like honestly, like if this was softcover and didn't have this blemish on it, I would be saying, "Oh my god, perfect condition." But it's hardcover, and you have this. I don't know if you can hear it, but that noise. That's the binding, the glue, not breaking, like breaking apart, but it's making it so like the book is easier to read. That's how I've heard it that it is that sound, but it's like, see, that sound, that's concerning to me. Cause I always think that means the binding is gonna break off. And the used book like this, I don't even know how many times the guy has read this book or girl has read this book before, you know. So it's kind of like maybe he's read it so many times before that it is breaking apart, but I don't get what it is. I'm getting a bunch of times, but no, it seems to be perfect binding condition. The only thing wrong with it is a little bends here, but honestly, even Amazon would have that. And honestly, a lot of the hardcovers that I've gotten, even new from Amazon, have that same kind of blemish. Now, it's not Amazon's fault, it's just the way that hardcovers are, because that's just the way, it's the way it is. And honestly, I took this book out, it was very tightly wrapped, so it may have even been because of how tightly wrapped the book was. So for better or for worse, it's a good way to package up your books. Because for a soft cover, that means that it's tightly wound, but taking it out, it's like very squeezed, like whoosh, like that. And I wonder, because I was so tightly wound when I was taking it out, this appeared on it because of that. I can't tell you. So there you go. It's some Threads books, by the way. They always come with this sticker, like right here. Now, Threads books, I believe, I have the same sticker here. When I got Vindication Volume One for my birthday, there was a tear. Like it was, I'll show it on this tray here back here. When you open the book to right about here, there's a tear like this, and it was very. You had to. I will give them one thing. You really had to look for it, and even when I taped it, it was even more unnoticeable. But I still taped the damn book. But so thrifty books is when I'd be a little bit more hesitant to purchase books from. But Wonder Book and Why Pay More in Line, all the others on like Half Price Books, they're really good. Half Price Book was the one I used to read a good book from. They're really good too. There's a bunch of Half Price books. There's Emerald, Ruby, Ink, and I think just regular Half Price books. But they're good too. But Wonder Book and Why Pay More in Line have like gone above and beyond the Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. For me, at least. Oh, damn, an hour long. I didn't want to be this long. Because I only went over 11 books. That's what happens when you go on tangents. But that, as I say, is that. I think I mentioned every last thing I wanted to mention about these books, just in case I'm doing a speed run. Meet the People, written and drawn by Pia Guerrera. ID, written and drawn by Emma Rios. Supper Club, written and drawn by Jackie Morrow. Vindication, written by M.D. Marie, drawn by... penciled by Carlos Miko, inks by Devin Jr., and colors by Tiago Goncalves, I don't know. Home, written by Julio Anta, drawn... or artist is Anna Wiesnick, colorist is Brian Valenza. Collecting 1 through 6 of Home. Vindication comes 1 through 4 of Vindication. Dark Engine, Volume 1, collecting 1 through 4, Dark Engine, written by Brian Burton, with artwork done by John Bivens. Paper Girl, it's a complete story, written by Brian K. Vaughan, and drawn by... I almost have Peter Staples. No, drawn by Cliff Chang, or penciled by Cliff Chang, but colored by Matt Wilson. Saga, written by Brian K. Vaughan, drawn by Fiona Staples. It just says Fiona Staples, no third person here, so I'm going to assume it's also colored by her. And then Saga Volume 10 and 11, same creative team. All 66 issues of that, first 66 issues so far of that series is the most that I've had from Image Comics for one series. The most I had before was like 50. So, 66 is a lot. Walking Dead, written by Brian K. Vaughan and drawn by Marcus Martin. Again, only 2 names there. So, Brian K. Vaughan writes, Steven Scrosay does the artwork for, and Matt Hollingsworth most of the colors. We stand on guard. And that, as they say, is that. 12 books this month. I don't think I'm going to get anything else. The reason why I say I don't think is because it's entirely possible I get another knowledge panel survey, and I get the points to get a $15 gift card, and I get the book I'm waiting on to get, but I don't think so. But that, as they say, is that. See you guys next month with this kind of video. Next month I'm going to try and get a lot more books that I've read before that the other library had, so I'm wasting money, but I don't consider that to be the case because most of them I really liked. This time around, a lot of them are kind of like, none of them are completely outstanding. There's the ones I liked enough, but you will see what those books are when we get to it. See you in the next one.